I would like to invite our regional coordinator, Rachel, to give opening remarks.
Hello, friends, colleagues, advocates for change. Thanks for being with us, being present with us this evening on a subject that calls for our critical consideration, our collective engagement, and a strong case for reform. It is the current state of our drug policies in Southeast Asia. I am Rachel, and a very warm welcome to all of you. I am the regional coordinator with the International Drug Policy Consortium, IDPC. My colleagues are here, partners are here. We are a global network that works collectively to promote people-centered, rights-affirming drug policies at the national, international, and regional levels. I want to take this moment to kind of acknowledge also some of the people who are in this room, my very brilliant colleagues who have traveled all the way from Indonesia, from Malaysia, from Myanmar and the Philippines, and some who are based here in Thailand, who are experts in their own right. We have just spent the last 3 days in a very intense, insightful, and also enjoyable 3 days to share and strategize in some ways. To strategize what we are going to be presenting to you today. And this event is also a celebration as part of that initiative. So we are all working on a project called the Criminal Justice Reform through Drug Policy Reform in Asia, or in short, we call it Reform Project. And we are collectively advancing drug reform in this region. So the dialogue that we're going to have this evening is really more than a conversation, as it has far-reaching implications to us, to our generations to come. So I also want to take this moment to acknowledge and declare that each of us hold the power to change perspectives, to influence change, to bring about change, to ignite a collective commitment to bring about transformation. I'll start with a positive note, saying that over the past decade, Southeast Asia has witnessed some significant progress and notable progress in reshaping drug policy narratives. What once was taboo, the decriminalisation of drug use, has gained traction and is now viewed as a viable form or a viable reform option by a more diverse range of voices, including policymakers, civil society organizations, legal experts, people who use drugs. But bringing in the reality, the region continues to grapple with the persistence of harsh punitive measures in response to drug use, and of course criticism of government policies. So beyond the core challenge of drug policy reform centered on the deeply entrenched paradigm of prohibition, there are also additional barriers that we are working towards addressing. Significant lack of public awareness regarding drug policies, hindering well-informed discussions among the broader population. We also see the complex interplay of intersectionality, stigma, weaving in layers of discrimination, intensifying the challenges and the difficulties faced by people who use drugs. We also see the translation of policy changes not moving into concrete and tangible shifts in enforcement attitudes, in practices that has been slow in progress, in part due to the inadequate engagement with legal enforcement agencies to ensure kind of comprehensive understanding and successful implementation of these reforms. And we also see in the media, who play a really critical role in shaping the public perception, often operate under very tight constraints like deadlines, safety concerns, also struggle for comprehensive reporting on drug-related issues. People who use drugs often find themselves dealing with the weight of stigma and discrimination, making it challenging for them to apply their rights in practical situations. So friends, it is really an opportune time for us to act, for us to collectively take more concrete steps together toward advocating for better drug policy reforms in this region. So to harness that growing momentum, the positive changes that we are seeing, to catalyze change towards ending criminalization and also harm, to promote harm reduction in Southeast Asia, IDPC, which is us, together with our partners, our regional partners, conceived this project, the Criminal Justice Reform through Drug Policy Reform in Asia. In a short while, you will hear from one of my colleagues, Kunitaya, about some of the findings, highlighting some of the challenges and recommendations found in the baseline study of this project. So there is there's a need for better alignment within the drug policy reform movement. Our collective call is really one that is of collaboration, of understanding, to dismantle this barrier and a persistent pursuit to justice. So I hope that this will be an avenue for us to see how we can work together towards strengthening that movement. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. And I would like to invite Tom from IJAP, who is the backbone of this project.
Thank you, Shrutika. Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to be here speaking at the launch of the Reform Project. And it's really exciting to be with you all in Bangkok at the start of what I think is a really critical and timely program. I wanted to start by saying thank you so much to Gloria, Shrutika, and Rachel. Thank you all so much for hosting us the last few days and for putting on such an engaging regional convening. There were some fascinating conversations going round in discussions, and we're really looking forward to be working with you over the coming years. It's also great to see other partners in the room tonight. Media colleagues, CDC, UNODC, NAPUD, APN+, UNAIDS. All of your support and collaboration is so appreciated. And of course, a huge thank you to all of the Reform partners who made it to Bangkok for these 3 days. It's been wonderful to spend time with you in person. I've learned so much in the last few days. And there's much to do. There's loads to do. But your determination and expertise is really, really clear. And yeah, I hope to be spending more time with you during the rest of the Reform Project. So for those who don't know much about the Elton John AIDS Foundation, we're one of the top 3 philanthropic funders of people who use drugs globally. And our wider work also supports LGBTQ+, young people, and sex workers. We fund service delivery and advocacy for key populations in Asia, Africa, Eastern Europe and Central Asia, and the United States. And we're so happy to be funding the Reform Project. Our current strategy for people who use drugs seeks to address the criminalization of people who use drugs. It seeks to reduce police violence and aims to challenge structural and systemic barriers that obstruct access to HIV, harm reduction, and other health services for people who use drugs. We also have a strategic focus on increasing funding for harm reduction at the global and the domestic level, and on supporting innovative services to reach underserved communities of people who use drugs, and on addressing emerging needs. So whilst we're a HIV foundation, we know that we need to think bigger and we need to think broader, so that people who use drugs and the people they love can live safe and healthy lives. And I just want to say a special shout out to Karen, who is over there. So during COVID, during 2020, EJAF worked with Karen to develop our current strategy for people who use drugs. And it's so great to see her in person after a couple of years now. So a lot of the work that we're doing at the foundation was developed alongside Karen. So I'm so grateful for all you've done. Yeah. So I just want to touch on a few things. We believe that people who use drugs must have a voice in the development of harm reduction services and must have input into the design of the policies designed to protect them. People who use drugs have crucial knowledge, they have expertise and lived experience, and can engage with underserved and marginalised communities in ways that others cannot. That's why for over 5 years we've been proud to partner with the Support Don't Punish campaign, and that's why we're investing more in programming that can help elevate community perspectives and that directly enables people who use drugs to convene and to connect. At the foundation, we believe that people who use drugs are critical agents of change and are central to advancing the health and human rights of their communities. Through the Reform Project, we hope to further link up communities to critical policy levers so that when laws, processes and systems are being developed and adapted, they're responsive to realities on the ground and they reflect the needs and priorities of those directly affected. So we're here on a regional workshop, a regional consultation, and we know that although many of the challenges we face in bringing about more enabling environments for people who use drugs need to be addressed at the national level, regional collaborations such as those established under Reform are crucial. And listening to you all over the past few days, it's clear that there are many shared issues, concerns, and areas for action. We spoke about how coercive rehabilitation and treatment violates the rights of people who use drugs, how communities continue to fear arrest and incarceration, about the need to adapt harm reduction services so they meet the needs of those diverse communities, and how dominant narratives in the media about drugs and the people who use them can be so damaging. I joined fascinating conversations about how we can better engage with the families and close support networks of people who use drugs, and the value of generating data from the community level in order to inform national policy. Discussions like this come about when we're able to come together, and this regional knowledge sharing is going to be so vital going forward. So thank you all again for being here. I wish you all a safe journey home, and I hope you all have a great evening ahead and looking forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for your wonderful message and the continuous support which you are giving to IDPC and other all partners. Yeah. Now I would like to request eBay to speak as a community representative and talk more about your experience and need for drug policy reform and engagement of people who use drugs.
No? Yeah. You can sit there or you can stand up here. How about standing in front of you guys? You probably need a microphone.
Yeah, you will need.
Now I can take the microphone.